Good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? Nice. All right, so in case you haven't heard, I am going to give you a quiz in a few seconds. It's going to test your Tiki knowledge. Don't sweat it if you don't know anything. That's cool. But everything I'm going to ask you, the questions, when I give you the answer, it's kind of a way to learn about things you need to know. So if you are going to be selling stuff like on eBay, these are the tips and tricks that a lot of people fail to do. And so the right eyes aren't looking at your stuff on eBay. So, and we're giving away prizes. So I got some, my home bar is the Den of Sin, and I got some nice glassware that Doug Horn did the artwork for. And I got this cool Aku Aku t-shirt too that I'm giving away. So don't sweat it, but enjoy it. My name is Jason T. Smith. This is the Den of Sin, my home bar. I travel the country teaching people how to find cool stuff in thrift stores and flip it on eBay and other online marketplaces. And when I travel, I tell my partner who books my travel, I need to be in cities where there's tiki bars or bars within a 2-hour drive. And he laughed, and I said, I'm serious. And he goes, I know you're an idiot, but I'm going to book you anyway. So, yes, I have visited the tiki bar in Jefferson City, Missouri, because I said I need to teach in St. Louis, so I can go to Jefferson City, Missouri. I started collecting tiki when the rebirth of tiki happened. I started in March or April of 2001 and haven't looked back since. And so these are just some pictures from around our house. We have about 1,000 mugs on display. This is the wall in my dining room. Two-story house, about 4,000 square feet. All my friends call it the museum. So just in case you have no clue who I am, I do have a lot of knowledge. People like Sven have knowledge on the history, and people like Jeff Beachbum have knowledge on the drinks. I have knowledge on how to make the most money out of your extras. So this is the entranceway to our house. Is like a 2-story going up the stairs, and we took 7 friends, 8 ladders, and about 4 hours to get everything hung all the way to the ceiling. And this is the actual Den of Sin. That's one of Bongo Fury's lamps down in the bottom there. He made that for me. And if you know Kim Bang, she does gravel art. That is a gravel art tiki next to the naked girl there. She did the logo and the gravel art for us. And this is just a funny little aside. I saw this today. So if you get drunk at TikiCon and fall down, you can just hobble to the other side of the hotel and get your shit taken care of. So I thought that was quite comical today. All right, so get your pens out. Does everyone have an answer sheet to write your answers down on? Make sure to put your name at the top. Please make it legible so we know who to announce as the winners. Now, spelling does not count, but we got to understand what you're trying to say. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. So it is Tiki Pop Quiz time. Let's see how well you know Tiki and Tiki collectibles. All right, question 1 and 2. What is the Tiki name and the real name of this gentleman right here? This swarthy gentleman in a lava, surrounded by, these are all sorority girls. I almost said his name there. I was about to say a little bit more, then I'm like, I was about to give away who that is. All right, so that is 1 and 2. His Tiki name and his real name. Like I'm Tiki Pug or Jason T. Smith, so that's my Tiki name and my real name. And we'll do it again. A little bit nicer dressed fellow. What's his Tiki name and what's his real name? And I don't care what order you put him in, 3 and 4. The first time I gave this quiz, see those little splats of paint up there? Yeah, it says the answer. I didn't notice the first time I gave the quiz. You should pay attention to your slides, what's on there. All right, now number 5, who is the artist on this Holy Grail Exotica LP? Don't say nothing, Bongo. Shh. Because there's prizes involved. And once we're done with this, my lovely wife, Stacy, will collect the answer sheets and grade them, and then I'm going to go over the answers real quick just to tell you why you should know these things. This is not just me. Ooh, you have a signed one. Very nice. Who manufactured this mug? That is number 6. Who manufactured this mug? Hey, Bongo, do you have more than one signed one? Okay. All right, number 7, and I've seen a bunch of these walking around at this event. Who was the manufacturer of the original Primo beer shirts? And I will give you a little hint, the Go Barefoot ones are the modern ones. So who made the original Primo beer shirts? There's nothing wrong with the Go Barefoot versions, but when you're hunting for stuff to flip, 9 times out of 10, the vintage is going to get you more money than the modern. But there's always a couple of rare exceptions. All right, you all should know this mug, and you should probably know, number 8, what is the common name for this mug? But do you know the original name of this mug? So number 8, what's the common name? And number 9, what's its original name? Number 10, what tiki place is this menu from? And if you haven't figured out by now, all the things I'm showing you when I go over the answers, they're all things that command a good dollar amount on eBay. And these are all the different kind of facets of tiki collecting that you should be aware of to make some money. What do these 3 initials stand for? OMC. I'd like to point out that the glue used on stickers in the 1950s and 60s must have been the most amazing glue, because all these stickers are still on the mugs. Think about stickers and like Post-its today. They just fall off after a day. Can you imagine glue that stuck for 50 years? All right, number 12, who was the artist that made these paintings, and where would you have originally purchased them? So nowadays you find them on eBay, you find them at Goodwill, but where were they new at retail? So 12, who is it? And 13, where would you buy it? Okay, our last 2 questions are, what's the name of this mug? And which version is the Holy Grail? So while you guys are finishing up your answers, when I'm not traveling, I watch eBay every single night, and I look at every single sold tiki thing every day. So I watch tiki like stocks and bonds. I see when they go up, I see when they go down. So when I see a mug sell for $400 that I bought at a tiki event 10 years ago for $10, it's time for that mug to go find a new home. Out of the 1,000 mugs we have, I'm probably attached to about 40 of them, and the rest can come and go. So the collection is always in flux. All right. So if you want to collect the answer sheets, please. Oh yeah, I got it right here. There we go. All right, so Stacy's collecting the answer sheets, but I'll go over the answers real quick. This is Ernest Raymond Beaumont Gant, otherwise known as Don Beach or Don the Beachcomber. I'm cool with either answer. And the reason you should know that, obviously, is because we're going to go to this next one. This is Victor Jules Bergeron, or Trader Vic. Since Trader Vic's is still an entity and they still make products new nowadays, Trader Vic stuff is still worth money, but there is not nearly as much Don the Beachcomber stuff. So when you find Don Beach stuff, make sure that you spell beachcomber correctly when you're listing it. I see that misspelled all the time, and I don't know if you guys been aware, but someone's dad had this booklet of Don stuff. It's going up for auction this fall. And it was contracts Don signed, it was his legal name change, it was his mob dealings in Chicago, and it was all in a little black book. So Don the Beachcomber's stuff coming up for auction this fall. Opening bids $1,000 for the book. All right, so this album is by Paul Page. It's one of the, what we call, holy grails of Exotica. People will hunt for this, and as you can see, these are the last 2 solds, 160 and 150. So if you're not familiar with this album, it's a great album to listen to. Great album to put on in your home tiki bar. But even more so, it's great to make money on. I bought my last one off of Craigslist for $5. Okay, so most people think that's a B with a really long tail on the bottom, but that's actually 2 P's stacked together. It's Polynesian pottery. Polynesian pottery made all the mugs for Trader Vic's in Waikiki. And as you can see by this bowl, it looks very rudimentary and almost like you made it in preschool. But they're highly collectible because there wasn't a ton of them. And as you can see, this bowl sold for $114 back in 2013, but today I'd probably get at least $200 for that bowl. But, when people search on eBay, if someone knows what they're looking for and they search Polynesian pottery, Trader Vic, and you don't have Polynesian pottery in your title, it'll never be found. So that's why you need to know always who the manufacturer is. Speaking of manufacturers, Hawaiian Holiday made the original Primo beer shirts, and that's the ones that, if you can find them that fit you, that's the ones that everyone wants. And that is the Suffering Bastard, and Mai Tai Joe was his original name. Anyone know that? All right, that's what I like to hear. So what I would recommend, if you do have any Suffering Bastards to sell, put them both in the title. Most people don't know Mai Tai Joe, but some do, so you never know what somebody's going to search. Like I grew up in Ohio, it's called Pop. Pop on the West Coast is called soda. So you got to try and hit everybody in what they're going to say. And the Dagger Bar and the Bora Bora Lounge was down the Beachcomber. And as you can see, this menu went for $150. So that's when you got to start digging. When you're at flea markets and stuff like that, you see a lot of paper products, that's when you got to start digging and find all the old Tiki ones, because what people love to see, and this isn't one of the examples, but most of the old Tiki menus have the pictures of the drinks in the mugs they came in, and not only do they sell for quite a bit, it helps research rare mugs. And OMC stands for Otagiri Mercantile Company. And so when you have the sticker on there, collectors like the fact that the sticker's on there. Make sure to mention in the title if the sticker is still on. I would put that right in the title. OMC sticker still on or on the bottom. August Holland made those. He made 3 Tiki prints, and you would buy your fine Tiki art at Sears next to the power tools. And lastly, that is the Tiki Bob, and the Holy Grail one that everyone looks for is the Blue Hawaii Elvis version that was given out as a gift to theater owners who came to, I think, a theater in Hollywood to watch Blue Hawaii before it was released. And so that was an early version of a swag bag. They were given this mug on the way out the door. And what's nice, and the reason I wanted to show this one is when you have a product that can cross 2 different collectibles, collecting groups, so you got your Tiki fans and your Elvis fans, and they'll both fight for it. So that's when things, anytime you can have that cross-pollination, that's when items go for more money. All right, how'd you guys do on the test? All right. And don't feel bad. It's one of those things where like I said, I study this every day. So to me, it's second nature. But I want, if you're going to sell stuff, I want you guys to know that. All right. How would you like to drink for free at Tiki bars all over the country? Anyone know this mug? No one? All right. This is from the Vortex. It is not a Tiki bar. It is a burger restaurant in Atlanta, Georgia. And this mug is made by Monk Tiki. When you get the cocktail, it costs $22 with the mug. And then when you sell it on eBay, it sells for $75. So not only have you drank for free, you've also eaten for free and the tip, and you got money in your pocket still. Who's been to Ventiki? Okay, when you get down to Ventura, a great bar. Make sure to stop into Ventiki. This is the mug that you get the high-end Mai Tai. They use better rums. It's Ventiki's in Ventura. This is made by Tiki Farm. With the cocktail, it's $30, and then you sell it on eBay for $47. And grab a couple swizzles and a matchbook and a coaster. Who knows this bar? Who doesn't know this bar? Anyway, yep, that is Frankie's Tiki Room right in Las Vegas where I live. Made by Tiki Farm with the cocktails, $23. Sold on eBay for $40. So as you can see, drinking is free. How many people have been here? Tiki Cat in Kansas City, made by Tiki Farm with cocktails, $25, and they've been selling on eBay for $115. All right, you should all know this mug. Yeah. So Albi right here in Portland, made by Monk Tiki with the cocktails, $30. Sold on eBay are $60. So all of you who live here, you should be having at least one zombie a week, and you can make like $30 a week. So after work, have your zombie, make your $30, easy peasy. And how many know this mug? Trader Sam's Grog Grotto. This is billed as a 2-person cocktail. If you're a real drinker, you can drink it by yourself just fine, like I have tried. It's at Walt Disney World, made by Disney with cocktails, $55. I think I heard it might have went up a little bit, but you can still get about $100 for it. Here's the only problem with this mug, if you're traveling. When it comes packed in the box, it takes up half of your carry-on suitcase. Because it's in styrofoam in the box, it's huge. So don't sit there and drink 4 and then plan for it later, like, oh, how am I getting all these home? All right, so now I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to selling on eBay, things that will get you more money and more eyes on your item, because it's all about getting the eyes on your items. And this will apply to anything. So it doesn't have to be Tiki. The tips and tricks I'm going to give you, for the most part, will apply to anything you sell. And the biggest mistake I see people make all day long is the don'ts, what I call my don'ts, on taking pictures. Let me tell you right now. How many of you have sold on eBay before? How many of you want to sell on eBay? Cool. How many are just here because you heard there's prizes? Pictures and the first like 5 or 6 words in the title are the only thing the buyers look at. I sell a lot of clothing. Every single piece of clothing I sell has a description, and in the description is the measurements in inches and centimeters. And at least once a week I get a question, hey, can I have the measurements? Oh, they're all there. So you've got to sell your item on the picture. All right, so my first do this and not this. This is this mug right here, but this is the rare orange version. And what I'm showing you to do this and not this is, as you can see, the first picture is on more of an angle. Anytime you have a mug with nooks and crannies, turn it a little bit. Most people think they should have the first picture be straight on. When you look at the straight on picture, it kind of flattens it out. But when you see the one that's turned just a little bit, it gives it more depth. And you want to catch people's eye. You want them to see that there's these nooks and crannies. Now, this is how I do almost all my Tiki mugs. I've kind of branded myself. Every other thing I sell is on a plain colored background. But my Tiki stuff is on my little bamboo background with a lei in the back. Now, I want you to do this. Now, this is the only Tiki mug I switched out my bamboo for the black. This is one of the newer Frankie's mugs. It looks so much better on the black, but I don't want you to do this. This is this seller's first picture. He wanted to prove that it came new in a box. So when you're scrolling eBay and you see mine, you see that picture, and you see his, you see this picture of a box, a plain brown box. All right, this is the new uh-oh ball. Anyone have one yet? Nobody? Okay, so this is how it's supposed to look. This is the correct coloring. Here's another eBay listing. Oh, they got the rare red version. No, not really. They just took a real shitty photo. And so where this is a problem for you as a seller, if the buyer doesn't read your description that says, oops, let me get it up there. This is what he says in his listing. The mug pictured is this type of mug you will get. The mug looks red in it, but is tan, just like the others listed on eBay. Okay, now your buyer won't read that, and when they get a non-red mug, they are going to file an item not as described, and you're going to have a problem because that mug is not red. Those two mugs are the exact same thing. That coloring is horrible. They try to do it at Trader Sam's and be cute about it, but they're just asking for problems. This was a outfit that was a high slit on the side and pants, and so I wanted to use my mannequin and then hang the pants next to it to really show that it was 2 pieces. But I lucked out and had a friend who fit in this outfit really well, and I have a nice little tropical backyard, so I said, hey, can you put this on real quick and model for me? I'm not normally a huge fan of live models, but in this case I wanted to show how high the slit was. So here's some things not to do. I don't want to see your warehouse in the background. I don't want to see the 17 other things you're about to list. I don't want to see your messy bedroom. And most definitely, I don't want to see it on the floor cocked off to the side. I'm not sure what they were going for here, but yeah, ladies, do you want to buy a dress off the floor? When you look at a Macy's catalog, are they taking pictures of dresses on the floor? Now, we ain't Macy's, but you can make it look good. You don't know this, but this picture is taken over top of my bathtub. My shower is right next to it, and my toilet's 5 feet away. But you don't know that because I got a nice backdrop, and it's clean. Make your pictures very clean. All right, this is one that always blows my mind. When you're selling salt and pepper shakers or anything that you have 2 of, like shoes that are identical, do one forward and one backwards. People love to do them all forwards. You have a product that looks identical, so if your customer will not get past picture number 1, make sure you show them both sides of the item. Now, the exception is this. This is a kick-ass, which I've never seen before, Trader Vic's Menehune man and woman. Well, of course, you want to have both of those facing forward for your opening shot because that is what will attract the buyers. All right, do not do this. This is a kick-ass punch bowl and 8 mug set. So this is the opening shot. It's the punch bowl. You really don't know that until you study these pictures. But here's the rest of their picture. So here's our punch bowl. There's the back. Now the inner. Okay, there's 1 mug. Okay, I see versions of 4 mugs. Oh, there's another mug. Hey, here's 4 more mugs. And there's the handle. There's inside one of the mugs. There's the bottom of one of the mugs. Here's a chip inside the bowl. We see a few more of the mugs and a close-up of the face. There was not one picture of the bowl with all 8 mugs in it. So by these pictures, you really don't know if there's 8 mugs there. So you want to have a nice shot to show everything in the listing. Okay. These are all crappy tiki mugs. If you guys have been collectors for a while, do you see anything amazing in this grouping? So on our back left, we have just a plain coup. Next to him, we have the Leilani, which is the most common tiki mug of all time. The yellow moai and the blue Marcasian are from that early tiki farm set that had 4 different tikis with 4 different colors. The Warehouse is a restaurant in Marina del Rey. They've been selling that rum barrel for 40 years. And that's the ubiquitous Trader Vic's coconut mug. And then I threw in Kahiki matches and the Venus Lounge where Shag did the artwork so I could have bonus keywords in my title. I could safely put Shag in my title without lying because that matchbook was designed by Shag. So I sold that lot of crappiness for $100. And part of the reason is the picture. So when you have a group of things, put them in a nice, tight grouping. Now, if you don't know this, eBay gives you square photos. So if you put in a rectangular photo, there's going to be space on top and bottom or left and right, depending on which way you shot your photo. If you shoot in square, it fills up the space nicely. Now, you guys are all looking at a big screen, so that doesn't really look bad, this long line here. But think about who's got an iPhone 5 here? Okay, good, thank you. Your screen ain't real big. So imagine looking at that on an iPhone 5, it doesn't show much. All you're going to see is this little line of mugs, because imagine if there were 6 more mugs, they would have made it even longer. So you put this nice grouping together, there's no rule or law that says you have to show everything without obstruction. So that nice little grouping, I put crappy mugs together, and they sold for $100. So you just got to make, when you don't have the actual steak, you got to sell the sizzle. Make it look way more attractive than it is. All right, so I've coined a term for these crappy, modern rip-off mugs. And it's called Sarah. And what I want you to do is smash and run away. Rid the world of shitty mugs. Now, I don't know if this has sound or not, so even if it doesn't have sound, I demonstrated what I preach, and then a couple of my friends did it for me too. So here's a little video of getting rid of shitty tiki mugs. All right, so yeah, there's no sound. But what I'm saying is when you find Sarah mugs, I want you to smash and run away. So I smashed, and now I'll narrate what I'm saying. No bad tiki mugs, no bad tiki mugs, no bad tiki mugs. And the people, the Goodwill I just bought that mug at, thought I was a crazy white boy. Because they were like, cause I had to go back in, and they're like, did you just break the mug you just bought? I'm like, yeah, but it'll be great. This is my friend Sherry, so she wanted to demonstrate. She picked up a crappy, modern, Chinese-made mug. So she's going to smash and almost cut herself and run away. And then my friend Chris took it one step further and did it in the store. Now, he did pay for it. I don't recommend doing it in the store. But I do have friends all over the country smashing crappy tiki mugs. Now, these are the brands, and the reason I tell you this is because if you're out, thrifting and you're looking at tiki mugs, of course you find a tiki farm, a monk tiki, those are good. But if you find Dynasty Wholesale, and every Dynasty Wholesale on the bottom says DW and then the number of the mug, DW stands for don't want. You don't want it. So Dynasty Wholesale makes crappy mugs, Libby makes crappy mugs, KC makes crappy mugs, Cheeky Tiki makes crappy mugs, and I don't mean Tiki Diablo's first name, because if you know who Tiki Diablo is, he used to be called Cheeky Tiki. And accoutrements. They all make crappy mugs. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this mug is called the Headhunter. This is the Dynasty Wholesale version of the Headhunter. Here's the original. They just dumb them down and make them crappy looking. Okay? That's a much cooler mug. The paint, the lid, the whole works. An even better example is this also is called the Headhunter. They just took all the detail away, because here's the original Headhunter. So look how much detail they just remove out of the mug. And that's fine. When I started collecting, I look back, and a few of the early mugs we collected were the Dynasty Wholesale ones. But once you kind of get into collecting and you know the good mugs, you start to see the quality. But you don't have to smash them. Just put them all together and sell them in a big lot, and someone will buy them. A Buffett fan will buy them. Okay, so when you list Tiki mugs for sale, these are the 4 C's you need to know. You know when you're looking at a diamond, it's cut, clarity, carat, and color? Well, there's 4 C's to Tiki mugs. The first one is chips. Are there any chips? Now, you want to make note of them. I don't mind if there's a chip, but I don't want to be surprised that there is a chip. So make sure that you have a nice picture. And what I do is I either take a post-it arrow or I add an arrow to the picture through just a little graphic editor after the fact, and I make sure I point at the chip if it's not as obvious as this. If you can't see the chip in this picture, then you need some glasses. Now, cracks are a different beast because chips usually don't affect the integrity of the mug, but cracks will. This is a Trader Vic's rum barrel that I accidentally kind of dropped from a little high, and it's cracked all the way through. So the integrity of the barrel's just shot. So if I try to ship this, it'll probably break. I tend not to sell when I have to ship cracked mugs. I'll sell them in person, like at events like this, but I will mention to whoever's buying it, there is a crack in this mug. Color loss. This skirt is supposed to be all red. So back in the day, they would fire the mugs, glaze them, and then cold paint them. And what happens with the cold paint over the years, if your mom or grandmother threw in the dishwasher at some point, goodbye red. And so you got to make note, you know, the Harvey's Tiki mugs that were on the first slide, they're pink and orange and stuff. And someone tries to sell the rare all black versions. Well, they all could be rare all black. We just threw them in the dishwasher real quick. So they're not really rare. They're just someone who threw them in the dishwasher. Oops. And then the last one is crazing. If you don't know what crazing is, see all the cracks in that mug? That actually isn't cracks in the mug. It's cracks in the glaze. And it does not affect the integrity. The mug does not leak. This is the rare red, white, and blue Moai from the Tiki's in Monterey Park. It's a really hard mug to find, and it's worth a ton of money. So even with the crazing, I don't mind crazing as long as when I'm buying it, I know it is crazed. I don't want to be surprised by it. So when you are listing Tiki mugs, make sure to mention. Now, if your mugs have none of those things, I also would put no chips, no cracks, no crazing, no color loss, because that protects you as a seller. All right, if you run an auction and started too low, you will normally not get what you should be getting. You aim low, you get low, so always aim high. How many people have been to Idle Hour in North Hollywood, California? Anyone here? Oh, my wife. All right, cool. So Idle Hour is not a tiki bar, but it does have a mug designed by Sven Kirsten and sculpted by the Piz before he passed away. Someone started an auction at $39. They got one bid. Now, if they would taken 2 seconds to do research on eBay solds, yep, 39 bucks, they would see my two. I sold one in June for 70 and one in April for 74. So why aim at half price of what I sold them for? You aim low, you get low. You aim high, you'll get high. And I think he copied my, yes, he just stole my title, I realized. He copied my title. So he did his research, stole my title, which I just realized, but aimed half price. That's silly. So he left half the money on the table. By the way, I don't mind if people steal my titles, just don't steal pictures. If you steal pictures and the person who took the pictures catches you, eBay will pull your listing. All right, there's 3 things going on wrong in this listing for the Luau Hut mug. The first one is, this was the only picture they had in the whole auction. They had no back, no bottom, no sides, no nothing. Secondly, they started the bidding at $3.99. And 2 people bid and they sold their mug for a whopping $4.50. It is not worth your time to sell items for $4.50. And lastly, that's their whole title. This mug was made by Otagiri Mercantile Company, or OMC. Put that in your title. Because people will look for Otagiri mugs. And if you don't have it in your title, you'll never be found. Now, how many of you have used Ooga Mooga? Anybody not been on Ooga Mooga in here? All right, cool. So Ooga Mooga is a website of tiki mugs that my friend Michelle made, or otherwise known as Huma Huma. And when it was built 16 years ago, the goal was every time we see a sold mug on eBay, we'd go over to Ooga Mooga, find the mug, and say, hey, it sold on this date for this price. Now, the problem is we haven't kept up with that as a community. And so I tend not to send people to Ooga Mooga to do their research because new people to selling see the prices, because what happens is she built it so every time someone enters a price, it gives you an average. So the average selling price of this mug is 26 bucks. Well, the last time someone entered a mug sighting was 2010. So it's not all that accurate. But I would go to Ooga Mooga to find out all the details because it tells you it was from the Luau Hut, the Tiki location, made by Oda Giri, and a little bit about the mug. So had this person who sold theirs for $4.50 done any research, they would see, okay, average sold price on Ooga Mooga is 26 bucks. Now, WorthPoint is a subscription-based website that keeps all the data from eBay for 15 years and running on collectibles, antiques, and stuff like that. And so if I typed in Luau Hut there, one sold in August of 2017 for 24 and January of this year for 20. So between those things, I see this is about a $22 mug. So starting an auction at $3.99, you're going to get $4.50. So we should be just listing it at buy it now at like 25 bucks, and that's where you'll get your money. How many of you have been to the Tonga Room in San Francisco? Okay, if you have not been, don't go there for the quality drinks, because they have none. But they do have an amazing bar with rain and a pool, and it's cool as hell to see. They had the three-face bucket mug, and someone started their listing at $19.99 opening bid. Now, going back to Ooga Mooga, we see two things. Tonga Room had two different size bucket mugs, slim and regular. So that's the kind of thing you need to know when you're selling. Is it slim or is it regular? And then if I hopped over to WorthPoint, I see 30 bucks, 38 bucks, 36 bucks, 43 bucks, 45, 38, 35, and 28. So if you list it at 20 bucks, you're getting 20 bucks. But you should be selling this mug for around $40. Hello, Kari. Kari's one of my fine students in selling mugs, and she's doing quite well. All right, sometimes the parts are worth more than the whole. This person sold these two Trader Sam's mugs together for 50 bucks with $15 shipping. So 65 bucks total, averages out to $32 a mug. And why sell these two together for that little when by themselves they average 40 to 50 bucks by themselves? So put them together and aim them too low, they left half their money on the table. Now, sometimes the whole is worth more than the part. So here's the inverse of that. This is the Sale with Harvey's Tiki mug. It is super duper common. These four that just sold or recently sold, 11 bucks, 18 bucks, $1. You aim low, you get low, and 15 bucks. So let's go with an average of $15. So 15 times 4, you should get 60 bucks. But if you put four together and make it look attractive, you can get $100. So if I was taking the time, I could find four that sell for $1 on eBay, get them in my house, and then sell them for 100 bucks. However, I didn't listen to my own advice. I just realized when I was putting this slide together, two of these mugs should have been turned around for the other side of the mug. So I blew my own advice right there because there's a outrigger on the back that says Sale with Harvey's on it. So I should have shown all sides of that mug. Oops. All right. So tips for a successful eBay sale. Capitalize the first letter in every word, like I've done there. Do not write in all caps, and do not write in all lowercase. Make it professional looking. When you see the title of an article in the newspaper or a magazine, they capitalize the first letter in every word. If you capitalize everything, three things are happening. You're yelling in internet speak. It is tougher to read for older eyes in all caps. And Google search does not like long sentences of all caps. So if someone's Googling stuff, because you can be found from Google into eBay, all caps kind of screw that up. Use the entire title, 80 spaces. So when you list a mug, it's who made it, the name of the mug, the designer. If it was a bar, what's the bar called? If you haven't already written that, is the bar from a fun place like Las Vegas or Portland? Put that in the title. Like I said before, square, make your picture square. It'll fill the whole space very nicely. All right, so here's how I price, and this is the key to it. Use buy it now with best offer. Price it 20% higher than it should sell for. So if you have a $100 mug, price it at 120 bucks. You can run a sale. If you have an eBay store, you can run a sale, and you can run a 20% off sale, but now it's not even 20% off. It's just where it should be. But people love a sale. They want to get excited about a sale. You run a 30% off sale. Visually, it says 30% off, but it's only really 10% off. So people can then make me offers, and I can still get where I think I should be. All right. We have any Brits or Aussies in here? I know my buddy Neil's hanging around here somewhere. If you're not shipping worldwide, you are leaving 7 billion potential customers out in the cold. I taught myself how to ship internationally in March of 2000. And back then it was a little trickier. You had to wait in line at the post office. You had to fill out paperwork. It sucked. But I realized there was customers all over the world. And I would say a fifth of my Tiki mugs go to Australia or England. They love Tiki mugs. Plus, I ship well, I price well, and I get a lot of repeat customers. Offer returns. I've never gotten a return on a Tiki mug, but people like to shop where they have the option of returns, because wherever you shop in real life, like Target or the grocery store or places like that, you want to know you can bring your item back if it doesn't work out, if it broke, or you just don't like it. No TOS, no terms of service. If I start looking at your listing and you're like, you must pay by this day or I'm going to do this to you, anytime someone's telling me how they're going to be, and look, I just want to give you money, I want to get the product. That's it. So when I see these long terms of service, it turns buyers off. So you want to make sure there's no terms of service. And master FOMO shipping. Now, what is FOMO shipping? Well, that is a way I have perfected how to ship Tiki mugs. All right, what do these things have in common? The 48 contiguous United States, Alaska, Hawaii, American Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, Marshall Islands, Federated States of Micronesia, Palau, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. What do they all have in common? You got it. That means you can ship to any of these far-flung places for the same price as you could ship to Vancouver, Washington. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now. All right, can I have the lights up, please? Where are our lights back then? All right, so FOMO stands for Freely Overcoming Mug Obstacles. This is a live demonstration on how to ship a Tiki mug for $6.90 to all those places. Thank you very much. These are the things you will need. First off, you need 3 sections of bubble. Okay? You want small bubble. Secondly, you need a piece of cardboard about this long. I do not recommend misusing priority supplies, but for my demonstration today, this is what I have. And last but not least, this Tiki mug is going to ship in this envelope. I like to see how big your eyes just got. $6.90. Any of those places, that list I just gave you. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to wrap your mug in the 3 sections of bubble. Now, I don't know why people think this, but people think that if they fill the inside of the mug with peanuts or bubble wrap, that it's somehow going to stop it from breaking. In a thick mug like this, that's just a waste of your packing material. Don't do that. Every mug I get on eBay, I dump peanuts out of the inside. Those peanuts did nothing but just waste your shipping supplies. All right, so tape it down that way and then that way. All right, there's your mug. Then you take your piece of cardboard, your handy-dandy piece of cardboard, and you roll it around your mug. Now, here's where the magic happens. Any place there's a fold, you cut to the mug. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm basically making a custom-built box just for this mug. And when you overlap all this cardboard, it makes this box super duper strong. Now I'm in every Tiki Facebook group, and I see the horrific shipping that everyone gets. Broken mugs. How many people got a broken mug from eBay? All right. Cracked glassware. And I see everyone say the same thing over and over. You got to be in a box. You got to have 2 inches of padding. And that's the norm for most things. But for modern Tiki mugs, that is all you have to do. Because now that custom little box fits nicely in that envelope. And then that is $6.90. Now you might say, well, how do we know it works? Well, I shipped this one to Blair last week. So let's see if it survived the trip from Vegas. Now this is pretty ballsy because this could be broke. This could go horribly, horribly wrong. So anyway, next slide. Just kidding. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, $6.90 to any one of those far-flung places. Now, here is the asterisk to that. If you're selling a $400 Van Tiki mug, don't do it this way. But all the Tiki farm, especially the Monk Tikis that are Monk Tiki imports, the ones that are made in China, they're all, they're thick nowadays. If you have a thin vintage mug, I wouldn't do it this way either. But I sell a lot of modern mugs. I ship them all that way. I don't need a box, I don't need a lot of peanuts, I don't need 2 inches of clearance. You will with thin vintage mugs, but this is how all my mugs go. Easy peasy. Now, the first time you do it, you're gonna be all thumbs, you're gonna be like, this sucks, this takes forever. I've done 1,000. As you can see, I even went slow to demonstrate, but I can fly through this because I've done so many. So that is how you ship and save you money or your customer money. Now, I charge $9.99 for shipping. It only costs me $6.90, so that extra $3 is my time and my materials. And my $9.99 is cheaper than most. Most people charge like $12.99. So I'm actually beating my competitors because I'm cheaper, and I'm still saving money beyond that. I could drop it to $6.99 and not make any extra, and people would be like, what? And it'd blow their mind. Now, these are the feedback just to demonstrate how much people enjoy that. Packing was super. Item arrived quickly and well packed. Fast shipping, item arrived well packed and undamaged. Because no one believes this works. You guys just saw it live in action. Arrived very quickly in pristine condition. Item arrived so fast, well packed, and just as described. Quick shipping, super well packed. Surprisingly packed in perfect condition. Quick shipping. And the best one, packed like a pro and super fast shipping, thanks Tiki Pug. Now, I didn't think about this when I got this in the mail the other day. I received a mug this way, and they skimped on the packing materials. So now I'm going to open this broken mug to show you what happens if you don't do it right. So I didn't realize I was going to be getting a demonstration piece for this, but so here's what they did. They said, well, Jay, I didn't have any cardboard, so I thought I would use the plain envelopes as the packing material. The whole key to this is the strong cardboard. So let's see how the new Tiki and Iki mug looks. I'm going to guess I have a nice mosaic. I don't have a mug anymore. I have an art project. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. And they use big bubble. Like I said, use small bubble. Well, here's the bottom half. So it can be done, but make sure you do it right. Make sure you use the right materials. Oh, hey, here's a nice little piece, For a rainy day, you put a puzzle together. Well, that was nice. The receipt made it in one piece. That's good. So any questions about that shipping? Now, like I said, if you're going to ship an expensive mug, a Van Tiki mug, thin vintage mug, yes, get a box that you do have 2 inches of clearance. I would still wrap it in 3 pieces of bubble. Use your peanuts, and when you put the peanuts in the box, when you make a Mai Tai, you put the crushed ice so it's a little bit taller than the glass, because when you shake it, the ice breaks down. Same thing with a box when you're putting peanuts in. Don't stop right at the top. Put it a little bit up, because as you push it down, it kind of locks it in place. But don't put too much, because even pressure, especially if you're doing glassware, pressure will put too much packing will actually break your thing too. So you gotta find that fine line. Any questions on shipping? Alrighty. And last, I'm going to teach you how to use social media and what social media did for me to make me a shit ton of money. And most of it was accidental. I didn't think about it. One way to use social media is to join all the Facebook groups, the Tiki Facebook groups. This gentleman who I had not met before, Max Ellman, we're buddies now, lives in San Francisco, says, man, I ain't never found a good Tiki Bob mug. I happen to have one for sale. I reached out and said, I was about to list this on eBay. If you want to go straight, just a straight sale, I'll save you $50. I'll save me the fee so I still get about the same amount of money. He said, sure. So that's one way to use social media. The other way, and I'm bummed that we have no sound, but I vended at the 5th anniversary of the original Tiki Marketplace, and I vended at a lot of these events. And what I decided to do this time was make a video, and instead of bringing higher end stuff priced accordingly, I brought a lot of middle of the road stuff, and everything was $10 or $5, everything. And so I made a 4-minute video going through everything I was bringing to the event. And the goal was to draw people from Southern California that maybe weren't coming to the event to come on over. Hey, look at all these cool mugs. Now, by making the video, I showed all the cool stuff, the big Tiki clock, $10. The black vintage Moai that usually sells for $30, $10. And I made it fun. Stacy's filming, and she would be like, I'm like, hey, I'm selling this mug. And she's like, how much is it? $10. And so I went and showcased every single thing. So when we got to the event, we set up our booth. I shot a second video, because right as the event started, I put another video out to social media. And I even did a little, I pride myself to be a little filmmaker here. I did my best Wonder Woman. Ta-da! All right, so I ran around, took some pictures of our booth, of course, to start, because it's my video, but there are other vendors, so I want to make sure that people knew that I'm not the only one vending, so in case this catches your eye, as long as I get you to the event, maybe you'll buy something from me. So the Hawaiian entertainment had started, so I filmed a little bit of that. If you could hear this, I also dropped some like Smoke and Menahuni's music in the background, and I made it a fun little video. And so here was the, and a lot of people came to the event that day. I would imagine a third of the people came because of my video, because they kept saying, oh, we saw your video, we had to come. But here is where the extra money came in, the money that I wasn't expecting in the sales. So bonus consequence number one of making these two videos was everyone saw that video on YouTube, because I put it in every Facebook group. And the people were like, hey man, I live in England, I live in Boston, I live in Florida, I want to buy some of those things. So if you've got some $10 mugs left over, can you let me know? So that day we vended for 5 hours, and we did about $1,800 in $10 items. And I got home, I relined them up, I took pictures, I added little numbers to it, and I put it in like 6 different Facebook groups. So as people, like as someone bought number one, I had to make sure I go to every 6 groups and put sold, sold, sold. Within that week, I sold another $1,400 worth of items. So now I'm like, cool, that was a pretty good idea, making 2 little videos. Now I'm $3,200 into sales. Bonus consequence number 2. A guy sees my video and says, hey man, I got all these Disney Tiki shirts. You want them for $30 a piece? Yes, please. So as you can see, I sold the first one for $125, $175, $175, $175, and $400. He then emails me about a week later after I sold them all and goes, hey man, my brother's got the same set of shirts. You want those too for $30 a piece? Yes, please. So now I'm into like $4,000 or $5,000 between all this stuff. And I wasn't thinking of the bigger reach of social media. I just wanted people in Southern California to come see me and bring me cash. That's all I wanted. And then bonus consequence number 3, this is Neil. Some of you might have met Neil. He's walking around here. He is from England. Oh, Neil's right there. Yeah, there, he's waving back there. So Neil's my buddy from England, but we weren't buddies when he reached out, but he said, hey, I see your posts. I live in England, and we don't get much Tiki stuff here. And he is, I feel so bad for him. Every time he gets a mug shipped not by me, is broken. Even mugs he's had shipped from within England to him, like the town over, broken. So I started sending him mugs, and he goes, man, you're the only one that knows how to ship properly. So Neil bought a lot of mugs. We started conversing. Me and my wife and him and his wife have hung out in England together. Now we're hanging out in Portland together. So again, I didn't foresee a friendship, a pen pal friendship in 2018 or the start of 2017. But it was, again, that is the reach of social media. You never know where it's going to go. You have one intended purpose, and it turned into making me $4,000 or $5,000. So it's pretty cool how social media works. So find the ones that work best for you, and it'll help you sell your things. All right, so if you want to learn any more from me, these are the and then I'll give out prizes. These are the places to find me. I am on Instagram as Tiki Pug Music. As you can see by the 6 pictures that are profiled, I hang out at a lot of bars and with the Amish. I grew up next to the Amish. When I go home to visit, we still hang out with the Amish. My Facebook group is called the Thrifting Board. We have 50,000 members, or we're about to add our 50,000th member. It's a free Facebook group. It's all things thrifting. I met somebody here. They're like, oh man, I'm in your group. I don't sell, but I love your group because I learned a lot of stuff. And my group is so full of experts that if you find some weird thing in a store and you're like, what is this? Within 20 minutes, you'll have the history of, yeah, well, this company started in 1933. It closed its doors in 1956. That particular glass was made in 1942, and the guy's name who made it was Bill Johnson. It's so crazy how many experts we have. I do a bunch of YouTube shows. So I'm just Jason T. Smith on YouTube, but if you know Adrian's podcast, Inside the Desert Oasis Room, I'm kind of the visual version. I do a thing called Jason's Tiki Adventures, so when I travel, I hit all the tiki bars that are in my areas where I'm traveling, and I do basically like a little travelogue. What drinks are good, what drinks aren't so good, who was nice, who wasn't so nice. There's a tiki bar in St. Louis that has a phenomenal rum collection and then the shittiest tiki drinks you've ever had in your life. Every tiki drink starts with Bacardi Dragonberry. Yeah, but they have like $30, $40, $50 rums behind the bar. I'm like, why not use those in your drinks? What is this Bacardi Torch Cherry bullshit? And then if you're interested in taking thrifting classes, I teach all over the country. I'll be hitting Minneapolis, Houston, Miami, Seattle, Cleveland, and a few others this coming year. So head over to jasonthrifts.com. All right, what we got for our winners? Is that the best one? All right, cool. So I'm going to give away 4 prizes, and the winner will get their choice. And the winner is, it's a duo, Heather and Terry Manning. Hey guys, well done. All right, so your choice is a Aku Aku t-shirt or a Den of Sin glass. Cool. You're welcome. All right, next up, Kevin C. was number 2. Wait, 2 people just raised their hand. All right, so whose handwriting is this? Okay. All right, Steve Peters. Now, I do have that t-shirt in large and extra large, so. I'm always breaking these things. All right, cool. And Sue Barnes is our 4th winner.
Yay, Sue.
So I have that in large or extra large. What would you prefer? Okay. Ooh, that was my knee. So there you go.
Thank you.
If anybody is interested in that Frankie's mug or the other one I just wrapped up, I'll just sell it to you at the cost of $25 because I don't feel like taking them home. And I do have 2 other Den of Sin glasses if anyone's interested in those 2. They're $15. So if anybody's interested in those, I have those. Other than that, any questions? Questions on selling, collecting? Anybody coming to Tiki Oasis? Besides my wife and my friend? No one else is coming to Tiki Oasis, huh? Wow, all right. Well, then this is where, yes. I've been selling since March of 2000. I got laid off from a job. I was at a record store, and they had a table full of dollar CDs, and I was just kind of looking at them, and I'm like, those have to be worth more than $1. So I took them home. I taught myself how to sell online and how to ship internationally, and within 2 months, I was selling 300 to 500 CDs a month, to the point where the post office goes, we can't keep checking all these in, and I'm like, well, what are my options? Like, you have to take them. You're the post office. They're like, well, you can buy a meter, and buying a meter ain't cheap. I'm like, I'm a dude in his underwear in his spare bedroom selling CDs. Like, I'm not buying a meter. And then he goes, well, you could just put stamps on them. I go, oh, I could just pre-stamp them? He goes, yeah, it's whatever it was back then. It was like $1.43 for 4 ounce, which is the normal CD, and then 7 cents an ounce after that. So here's the 7 sensors, and here's the $1.43. I'm like, oh, that's easy peasy. So I would just go up there and just dump them. And of course nowadays it's easy because all the labels get printed online. So I've shipped about 100,000 CDs in my selling career and just tons of other stuff. Yes.
I've always called you. I've called Jason. I know he has a long time. He's been taking different ones, but I've always dubbed him Mary Kay of because he has helped so many people create income where they didn't think there was income and change their lives around. And he's done this across the country.
Yep.
And pardon me, I can
Well, my folks sell on eBay, and I host a weekly thrifting show with my mom on Sundays, and she's 75. They're both 75 years old. And when they retired a couple of years ago, they sat with their money guy, and he said, "Okay, based on your retirement savings, you're not going to run out of money until you're 93," I think he said. And I'm like, "Phew, they're covered." But they've done so well selling on eBay. Their money guy this year said, "This never has happened to any of my clients. You now are not going to run out of money until you're 95," because they're doing so well that they're not using their retirement as much because they're making like $2,000 a month. And most people in retirement don't do that. And they only work like 3 days a week at it because they watch my nieces a couple days a week. My mom plays cards with her ladies at the bar once a week, and they kill it. And so I like teaching the older crowd too because some need it, some don't have the retirement, and others enjoy it like my mom and dad. So that's their fun money. That's their once a month they travel with their friends, and they use that money. So I'm always happy when I see people succeed, even if it's just for the fun. But a lot of people just need it because they don't have other resolve at that age. Really, yes. Yeah, well, just because they made the decision, nothing's changing right now. So, uh, oh, they will, but here's the problem. Every county is its own entity in terms of sales tax, and so it's going to be this huge mess. It'll happen eventually, but it won't bother me or change much of anything. Uh, it's all about being creative and getting people's eyes on your products. But this will still be a while. Like when they announced that eBay could do it the other day, people lost their effing mind. I was away teaching, and in my group, people were like, "Chicken Little, the sky is falling. I'm jumping off a bridge. Life is over." I'm like, they just said they could. They're not even doing it yet. Like, things don't happen instantaneously. I'm like, and when it happens, we'll deal with it. And a lot of times when these big changes come, like big shipping changes or big tax changes, the way I go about it is I roll through. Now, people will go back, like if shipping rates change, they go back and fix everything and up their things. And I'm like, the amount of time it took you to change 1,000 listings, I just roll through and I lose money for maybe a month, and then it'll be all new products. I'm like, I ain't going backwards. So as new things come out, I just kind of go with it, figure it out quick, and then start teaching everybody what to do. I'll fail first, and then I'll tell you what to do. Yeah. All right, so when you ship on eBay, you get when you ship priority, you get automatic $50 insurance. And if you're an eBay seller, when you print your shipping label through eBay, and I think you have to be a top-rated seller, you get $100. So most of the stuff I sell is in that range, but you can insure through USPS or third-party insurers for like $1 for like up to $500. Now I see some people who do it for every package. I'm like, if you think you have to do it for every package, you suck at shipping. Because I've had so few things break in my career, and it will happen. I don't care how good you are, it will happen. But I only will insure things that are super expensive. Like I sold a $15,000 watch once, and I use a whole escrow service. I want to make sure that I was covered, they were covered. But when you sell a $20 Tiki mug, I'm like, if it breaks, I'll send them another one. I'll apologize and send them another one. Yeah, so one more hand up. So the $15,000 watch was the most expensive one thing I sold, but I did rescue 14 1979 Herman Miller office chairs from the Riviera Casino when they were tearing it down. They were still being used for the daily morning meeting, these 1979 chairs. And this is before they made the law where the chairs had to have 5 wheels. So these were the dangerous 4-wheel chairs. Here's a smart tip. Of the 14, 13 were in crazy, amazing shape, and one sad one was beat to hell. So I took a picture of the sad one, walked up to the front counter and said, "How much for these chairs?" And they said, "How many are there?" I said, 14. He said, $50 each. Thank you. So I've been selling for $1,200 each. Yeah. And then my other favorite story real quick is, anyone remember the movie Rad from the 80s? So the movie never came out past VHS. It has just recently, but it was never on DVD, never on Blu-ray. The soundtrack never came out past cassette and LP, so it was never on CD. So those kind of things will sell for great money. I found a producer's jacket from the movie for $10 in a thrift store. Now, I used to have a TV show on Spike called Thrift Hunters, and I had it on the show, and a guy who bought it for $800 from me. And he has it on display in his living room in a glass showcase, and his wife gave him a yearly allowance to buy rad memorabilia, and he had to borrow against the next year to afford an $800 jacket. So those are kind of some of my highlights of fun, expensive stuff. All right, my time is up, right? So, all right, thank you everybody very much. If you got any questions, I'll be around the rest of the day.
You take a picture of these lovely broken mugs.
Oh my God, my Tiki and Niki poor mug.